Like when you're in a field where joy is the primary, frequency, and then you're all raising to that frequency and meeting that, then that's when you're fully in, you're receiving your downloads, your next steps, where to turn right, where to turn left, like who to, you're running into. That's what happens. And then that joy energy and that frequency just gets bigger. It builds momentum.
Welcome to the Holomovement Awaken Your Purpose podcast, where we interview incredible people that are living and breathing their purpose. And you can too. If you would like to support this programming, drop us a like or leave us a review. Now let's dive in. Hello everybody, my name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of LightNet, and my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible. I'm here with a very important person, dear friend, and the core synergist of the Holomovement. This is Mariko Pitts. She is an experienced designer and a public relations expert. She's been producing and designing incredible events around the world for over 20 years. She was director of the Uplift Foundation, and she has really moved to do what's so important in the world today, which is bring people together and create that uplifting consciousness and impact like you do as the core synergist for the Holomovement. And you're working right now on a massive event.
A massive event.
The fourth wave. Tell us about that.
Oh my God. Well, thanks for having me, Zenka. It's I can't believe this is the first time doing this. It's been a while.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. Talking about purpose. Yeah, so we're literally about 40 days out or maybe less from the fourth. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you.
Yeah, I've
just been in back to back.
The first one in Sedona.
That's right. Sedona's the first, and then it officially moved into the waves. Yeah.
And then Asheville.
And now we're going to Portugal, Cascais, Portugal, right on the coast. It's an incredible place.
Lisbon.
And oh my God, Lisbon. I know. I'm like literally in less than 10 days getting on a flight to get to be in Lisbon for about a month. It's so real right now, but it's so amazing what's happening, the energy that's pulsing. I mean, people are finding us, and there's so much synchronicity that's popping off. I mean, the wave really is that meeting point where the changemakers, the visionaries, the artists, the scientists, they're all come together. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just that anyone who's really called to service in the world, you're coming into the physical realm with us together, into this container that we're putting together of high coherent field, to really refuel, to find those connections, to deepen your connections, to find who you are, really kind of rediscover who you are, I would say, and have a lot of fun, really, at the same time. The wave really it's a hybrid. It's not a standard conference. Oh God, I can't even call it that.
Definitely
I can't even say that. It's not a conference. It's a hybrid. It's like a festival, yet it's also has conference-esque types of elements to it. But you've got the embodiment practices. You've got music. You've got really heartfelt, deepening type experiences, more experience immersive-led type experiences and workshops and things like that. And people really talking about the leading edge things. We are going to be talking about AI and regenerative agriculture, or just regeneration in general. There's a lot of different things, commerce, economics. So, you name it, you could think about it, because the Holomovement really is that umbrella for all walks of life and all fields, essentially. We are the essence and the philosophy of transformative action, and what we mean by that is really holding love in our hearts and acting from love and being in that higher field and that higher frequency. Being love that has a greater ripple effect of service in the world.
Yeah, and that's like a lead into the Holomovement Effect, because you were saying coherence, and that is one thing that I go to a lot of conferences, and the first one in Sedona, I was like, oh my God, I've never met so many mature, conscious these are badasses in their fields.
Yeah.
You've got
absolutely.
Limnick Tiger, all these people,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have matured to that kindness. And I remember the first time, just like, I've never been in a conference with this many
high frequency people. So synchronicity after synchronicity after
Yeah.
we're just like, I can't believe that just happened. I just met that person. What is going on? Like,
Yep,
that's like,
absolutely.
what is
Absolutely.
the Holomovement Effect? It's like,
It's exactly that. I mean, it's when you're, I don't know, there's so many ways of describing it. And it's almost like you can't even really put it into words because you have to experience it. And that's the thing. It's like when you're in a field where joy is the primary, frequency, and then you're all raising to that frequency and meeting that, then that's when you're fully in, you're receiving your downloads, your next steps, where to turn right, where to turn left, like who to, you're running into. That's what what happens. And then that joy energy and that frequency just gets bigger. It builds momentum. And so, I mean, we've just experienced so many different things where healing is actually happening, because what happens when a body is actually in a higher frequency is that your body is thriving. Everything can actually do what it's supposed to do. The body is very intelligent, right? So it's like, but we're witnessing people, throwing crutches. They've been on crutches for like a year, right? And you're like, oh my God, and they're walking, and you're like, oh my God, and heart attacks in an event, and then a double bypass, and one, the surgery on, was it like 85% blocked on one and another 80% in the other, and within a week after getting surgery off on one artery, the other one ended up, the blockage just cleared completely. It was just like, and we were just holding intentional space for that person, It's crazy what can happen in a high coherent field. And you don't know that until you're in it more of the time. And I think that's why it's so amazing with the Holomovement and the actual physical events that we do, because it gives you that practice. It puts you directly in the field. And you're always going to be triggered by something, or you're going to, your world's at our fingertips at every moment. But it's like, what are you going to do about it? How do you respond? And then can you actually be in a higher state of love more of the time, and then manifest more of what you want in the world?
yeah, it's like you're in the best timeline that you can possibly get to, because everyone's lifting.
I think,
lifting
in some way you're actually, time isn't linear, right? It's almost like it's slow, it's fast. It's like when you're in that field, it's almost like it was like, oh, we've been together for a week, and it's like, oh, it's only been 20 hours. It's like, what just happened, right? It's crazy. It's crazy stuff, but it's really exciting. Right now, it's the best time. We're in that sprint mode because there's so much logistics it's happening, and getting people in and headshots. It's just the littlest thing to the biggest thing, right? And but it's so much fun at the end of the day, because I can feel it. I can feel the energy of what's coming, and then also I can feel, and I already can place myself at the end of it. Actually, I can see the success. I can see the success for everybody. I can see people coming up to me and saying, "Oh my God, I actually found my purpose. I know what I'm doing next." And that happens after all of these events, and it's just like, oh my God, the service that we're doing just by like creating an event. And it's not just that. It's like, being pillars of light and really holding the frequency of actually joy does matter. It really does matter, and people don't understand that. And the world really kind of puts us in fear states all the time, and it's like, oh my God, we can't get anything done. We're in the rabbit, or the what is it, it's the wheel, the mice wheel, exactly. And you're just like, you can't get a leg up, and it's like, well, actually, all you have to do is really follow your passion. You really have to find your joy and actually say yes to that. It is so important to actually say yes to happiness, because it actually has the bigger ripple effect. And you don't even know that. And it's okay. Because the moment when you say yes, the bigger ripple effects that are happening out are huge. And that's actually the important thing. It's like when we talk about purpose, I know a lot of people are struggling. I know that the percentage of how many people in the world that don't know their purpose, right? What was it, like 90-something? 95% of the world that don't know why they're here on this planet. And that's like incredible to me, right? I'm like mind blown. And that's why we created the Purpose Lab, right? It's like, it's amazing the work that we're doing. But at the end of the day, I realize that it's not about finding your purpose. It's about stopping, it's surrendering, and actually just listening, because you're already in it. Most people have no idea that they're actually doing things. Once they're in their joy, they're actually running around doing things, and they're finding things. And at the end of the day, 20 years later, you look back and you're like, I'm really happy I took that class that I didn't really think I should have took. Oh my God, look how that is like, it's incredible how that turned into like exactly what I needed to be in this position to be doing what I'm doing at this time. It's like, what? I followed my passion when I was in public relations, and, I was in Hollywood and developing storylines for oh God, you know, the things that you don't really, I work with Lori's and Kellogg's and big names and Sony and these are clients, and one of them, one of my big clients was actually Pacific Gas and Electric. Okay, and then all of a sudden, I was on the crisis team when you know, the gas company incinerated like all the homes in San Bruno, and so I was on crisis control. And you wonder like how we deal with things like that. You know, it's like I had to really look in the mirror and be like, what am I saying? I mean, this is like heartbreaking. And, you know, at the end of the day, you have to tell the story and pause or, you know, reflect. You kind of have to, it's like a martial art. You know, people are coming out, they hate you, and you're representing a brand that just really killed the families and their dogs in the middle, you know, in the middle of the night. And then you're like, well, this isn't really conscious, the work that I'm doing. Because I'm representing a company that needs to save its image. It needs to save its ass, excuse my language, but really at the end of the day. And I thought, well, okay, well, am I doing this? Why am I doing this work? The work actually brought me joy, but it was who I was working for and what in the perspective, actually. It wasn't what I was doing. It was actually how I was looking at it and what I was representing. And then I took a big step back and I got out of it. And then I started going into working with athletes and extreme athletes and actually going into the psychology of like, what does it take to run the Grand Canyon 7 times back to back. And I did that with you know, a client. We set a world record, and you know, I'm out there working on Mount Denali, climbing mountains just to kind of like be with them and to see what it takes to really, you know, push yourself to those limits, right? But at the end of the day, it's like you don't know that, you know, I didn't know that just when I was going and doing these crazy things. I thought it was fun. But at the end of the day, what it took and how I was looking and actually studying humanity or studying that person and understanding what it was like to actually look at Hollywood and look at these clients a certain way and see the ugliness that's there. It had an effect of how I'm sitting in this chair right now. It mattered. Every little thing mattered to get me to where I'm at right now, to be able to say, oh, okay, I'm actually here fully in service to consciousness, to higher frequency, to love, you know. And my purpose, I've kind of really whittled it down to something very vague, but I think it actually is really appropriate. It's my purpose is to embody more love on the planet and to amplify it. And I do that through different ways of being. And it doesn't matter how I do it. It doesn't, yeah, it's like, yeah, I build retreats and I design them and I bring in coherent fields and bring the right people together or run organizations and all the yada, yada, yada. But it's like, how am I showing up on a day-to-day? How do I show up to the person at the grocery store when I walk there and, someone that's putting groceries in my bag, you know, how am I showing up in those moments that make a big difference? It matters to me. Every moment matters. And it's not so much like that I'm doing things that are actually in service. Yes, I think innately human beings end up doing things. I think it's just kind of we're born with it. Eventually we move into collective service. It's just one of those things that we do. We like to be around people. It's like, I feel like it's like breathing. It comes natural. So eventually you get there. But I do think that people skip over the one important thing, like I was saying, is that if you aren't happy, you aren't creating happiness. You aren't having a ripple effect of that. And that has a big difference. You know, so it actually does start with you, and then it has a massive ripple effect from there.
Wow, that is interesting. You've really got this dialed in, and that's
I don't know
why...
if it's dialed in. It's just kind of it works for me though.
Well, I have always noticed about you that you understand the energy of people, the energy of a room, the energy of a musician you're hiring. Like, it's like you can sense them at a level that's not, it's beyond like facts and figures and stuff like that. So it's very interesting, and you're right. Such interesting points about how we do everything and everything. From the grocery line, very, very interesting. So why do you think that most people have not found their purpose?
They're trying too hard. Surrender, relax. You just actually need to ask in the moment, what brings me happiness right now? And take that step. Because when you're in a higher coherent field, and those of us that know synchronicity, you get the downloads, you know where to go next. And then the right job pops in, or the right thing that is like, it's the perfect person is sitting in front and across from you that says, you know what, I'm working on this, and then you happen to be that perfect person for that person, and then everything unfolds from there. It's you have to listen in the moment. I really believe that, we are souls having a human experience. And so there's a higher self. There's so much guidance outside. I know this is getting a little woo-woo, but really, my spiritual beliefs are some really showcases. Like, I really do have a posse around, and they're guiding me. I can only see from a certain perspective. Earth is really intense. It's an intense polarity school. You've got a higher being, you've got the universe. There's so many other things that are guiding us, right? That can see and will tell you when to make a right sometimes. And it doesn't mean that that's outside of you. That's actually all you. We are everything. We are so interconnected. We are the stars. It's like, so it's not that it's not you doing it. It's that it's my bird's eye view of myself that is telling me what I need to do next. And all I have to do is stay in a higher coherent field to listen. It's the same thing as a radio station. I can't hear what song is on the radio until I tune up to that station, to that frequency. Get to the right frequency, and then you get everything that you need to know in the moment. I don't need to know what I'm going to do in 10 years. I need to know now, right now. So what is the download right now that is going to serve me to move forward right now? Because in 5 years, yeah, sure, anything can happen at that point. But right now, what is guiding me? And I always have the question. It's like, okay, us human beings, we have many questions of, what is my purpose? You can put that out there. It's fine. You can ask the question, but also be okay with turn right. That's okay. And it will guide you there, because the universe is always holding you, and it always is looking out for the best for you. And so you will be guided to exactly what you want. It's okay. But calm down. That's my advice. It's just chill out. Really surrender. Actually do the first thing that feels good for you in that moment. Get you back into a calm nervous state. It doesn't have to be joy. Sometimes it can be from grief to even just satisfactory. A raising up of the frequency is better than anything. Put a good song on. Take a bubble bath. It doesn't matter. Just do whatever it takes to get back into a good feeling state so that you can hear the next good thing.
Incredible. I love that. Love that. Especially in a world that's changing by the minute, like exponential. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So looking back over the years in your life, what has been the biggest struggle that you've faced in living your purpose?
In living my purpose? Well, experience of just what I said, where I was a little too high strung and wanting it to work and trying to figure it out. And then I realized, oh my God, like in my 20s, you would think it. I'm in my 40s now, but when I was in my 20s, man, it was like party central. I was running the streets around in San Francisco and really kind of, filling the void of, I knew instinctively that there was something more, that I was destined. It was like you knew that there's a mission, right? Like I knew that I was going to end up doing something that was really big. I didn't know that I would be helping put the puzzle pieces to a global movement of consciousness together, right? But you just, it's kind of interesting. I can look back at that and say, wow, but I knew something was like, that there was a bigger service to the world. Didn't know what it was. And because I knew it, I could feel it. It was just like this, this hunger that was there. It was something that was like, it's there. And then I was filling it with like, some drugs and alcohol, going out and partying, and it just didn't feel right. And I got over it. I was just like, oh God, this is just not me. It was just a small stint of that where I was like, when you don't know and you're forcing, like I said, you're trying to force something, trying to tell me what it is. Like, what is this? And I surrendered to it. I just stopped all the partying, and I just said, you know what, it's okay. Maybe I'm not supposed to know right now. And that was the answer. Maybe I'm not supposed to know right now. But what I need to do is just take that next step. How do I get better right now? And then it led me to where I'm at. And then it gets better and better over time. And then I can look back and say, oh my God, I actually remember the moments where I surrendered and I stopped, But there's a lot of, life is life. And as it always is, I recently lost my mom, through a pretty devastating bout with cancer. A rare one, and I was with her from the start of like, whoa, the first time we're at the doctor, and they were like, we knew something was wrong. And then They thought it was something else, like a pulled muscle. It ended up being a tumor in her back and her spine. And then to the day she died, it just happened really fast. Within just over a year, it puts you to the test. It puts your purpose and who you are to the test. It's like a spotlight on you when you're, I was still building the Holomovement at the same time, working with you and, all of our colleagues, and holding love at a level where you're just devastated and you're being crushed. And at the same time, you're like, I trust that the universe is going to guide me. And then, it happens. And then you're like, wow, every moment. It's almost like I can think back at so many different moments, and I realize, and I thank her and the situation for expanding me. And then I realized, that it was a part of the mission, that I was here for it, that we were together in it. And if I didn't have that, I lost my mom, but I didn't lose my mom. I know she's around. She's probably hanging out here right now, But you know what I mean? It's like, you feel it. Though there's moments that even someone, like a family member dying, and people all over the world, we get that. We lose people, There's a lot of pain and things, but using that as a catalyst for our evolution is huge. And it really did solidify me, and knowing that I'm at the right place at the right time. And I think that's all that matters, is that we also all have to be okay with just trust that there is nothing wrong with where you are. It's for a reason, it's for a reason. So,
Yeah. What advice would you have for someone that doesn't know where to start, doesn't know their purpose, doesn't know is just in that moment where they don't feel like they know?
Yeah, that's, I'll come back to it. It's like, you need to close your eyes, stop. If you don't have the ability, if you're in overwhelm, there's a lot of anxiety, emotions are your guidance system. Okay. Think about your emotional body. If I am overwhelmed, all right, I'm not listening to my body. I'm freaking out about something, or there's a lot of anger. It's like, you're going to have to stop. We have to have the awareness to notice where we are emotionally, take a breather, create a gap so that you can then create the ability to respond to what's next. Everything is in the now moment. Everything is in now. This is no future. There's no past. It's all right now. It's all together. It's all here. Okay, so in the very moment that I'm lost, I feel all of these sort of things, it's like, okay, well, what do I need to do to get back into a higher frequency so that I'm no longer lost? And then I can feel those around me. I can feel and tune into what's next. And so it doesn't matter. It could be as simple as getting out some ice cream from the refrigerator. If that makes you feel better, do it. Don't make the ice cream wrong. Just go get it if that makes you feel better in that one moment. I know this is kind of one of those things. It's like, it's not about that. It's really about in the moment. Take a scoop of ice cream. Does it make you feel better? Okay, then what's the next thing that you might hear that downloads? Maybe it's put it on a really good song. Maybe it's just dancing in your living room. You'll start to see it starts to elevate from there. So I would say it's just stop and just hold for a minute and do something that can bring you back into a higher state of coherence. Just move it back up the scale, just a little bit up. And then you can then find different ways to respond to what's next.
Brilliant. So what effect do you feel like you've had on the world by living your purpose?
I hear it's pretty good. I definitely have experienced, many people have come to me and really thanked me just by seeing them. It's not like, like I said, with events and things like that, I never really feel like I need validation, because you can see it, you can see, I'm already full because I'm doing something that I love to do, right? And it's amazing. And when you see people living in their joy, and it's like, I don't care how it happens, at the end of the day, it's like I'm building a container for joy to thrive. And when it happens, you feel like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's it, right? And so I don't need to be, it's kind of like, I can be behind the scenes a lot, and, behind the curtain. And I generally am, because I'm usually producing and the directing behind the curtain. I'm in the dark, and with a headset. And but I'm seeing things, I'm watching it, and it's like, it's amazing to see that, you know, hundreds and thousands and over years, it's like thousands of people have gone through different things that I've created that actually are having ripple effects from that too. It's like, you know, we plant a seed and you just watch it grow, and it's amazing. So, I mean, I can see it because of the line of work that I do. I can see an immediate effect. But, you know, it's there. You know, I know that there's something that's there. And I know that I do have a close, you know, group of friends and family that, that highly value me, and I value them. And that's there, and it's authentically there for a reason, you know. And at the end of the day, helping one person really is fine too. Knowing that it has a bigger effect is even better, but yeah, it does start with like that one person. It starts with me, and then it grows outward from there.
Interesting. I feel that about you. You have been a great daughter. You've been a great partner. You've been a great friend to so many people, and a great leader for the Holomovement. Wow. Yeah, you've got it. You've got the core so strong, beautiful. And I love what you just said. I build containers for joy to thrive. That is like so great. I love it.
Well, maybe that's the actual purpose. So you
That's
just build
so
containers for joy to
good.
thrive. That's a
Oh
good
my
one.
God.
I just came through it. Yeah.
Yeah, so my final question to you is, what do you think the world would look like if the majority of people were living their purpose and passion?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like heaven on earth, right? I mean, it would look like a wave event, actually. I mean, actually, that's what it would look like. It would just be fantastic, you know? I mean, people just laughing and connection deepening, and, you know, everyone in collaboration. That's the other thing about, you know, waves. It's big about collaboration. It's where you come and then you figure out answers together, and you figure out solutions together, and we fix stuff. Because even though everyone, let's say, is in their highest joy, the problems and old antiquated systems are still there. We've got to build something completely different together. And we are. There's a lot of Holomovements doing it. There's other groups and other movements that are doing it. You know, and then it's like we coalesce and we do it together. And that community building is a huge thing. So I actually would see a lot of people in their joy actually coming together more, collaborating more, creating new systems, because they're getting stronger downloads of what's next and what's needed. And you know, AI is here. It's not going anywhere, but it would be more conscious, you know, and how we utilize it. You know, wars would stop, you know. There's a lot of things. But I do, yeah, the wave is a good container of an example, I think, of actually what it would be like if more people were actually in their joy state or in their purpose.
Yeah, like watching those musicians last year. I mean, and some of my favorite music, like Samuel J. Just like I'm witnessing this. This is happening, and then to see like
He'll be back too. It's
party,
amazing what's happening
the final
next.
party when there was 20 musicians.
Oh yeah,
just like
and
jamming, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy what happens, because when they're in their highest potential and their highest possibility, then in a group with it, it's like, I mean, it's wild. It was wild. It was pretty epic. Yeah, it's epic.
Like,
it's epic to see that and experience it, because you feel it, and then you hear instrumentation, it's the music, and then it was just like massive orb of joy that's just like expanding.
Yeah, because the music kind of carries that ripple out.
Exactly.
By the way, holomovement.net/wave is where you can go and get tickets for the final hotel rooms we have left.
The final the 4 days practically. I don't even know if we have any more rooms, honestly. I'd have to look at that. But the 3-day, the core experience with the main part of the event is available.
Yeah.
The activation day is limited to like 150 people, is what we're actually really going deeper. There's facilitated ways of how we're deepening connection, but also projects and moving them forward, things like that. So it's, yeah.
Do you have any closing thoughts, Mariko? Such a great download to be here with you today. I'm just, excited. No one said what you said. No one has said in the 104 interviews, no one has said what you said. And I feel like it's the most timely advice. Because like as the old world goes down, there are new ways of being. Like in the old world, you know what I mean? You were probably a shoemaker because you were in that family. Like it was just more slow, and now it's like, oh, you better be listening. Like here we go.
I think with all that's been happening, I mean, I would say since, the beginning of COVID, where everything has just been like so fast, right? The world is just shifting so fast, and humanity's waking up. There's so much happening. We're challenging our leaderships, and this is all the systems are, you can see they're breaking. It's not an imagination, right? Things are falling apart, right? It's like at a tipping point constantly, and every day the things like, if you think about like 10 years ago, you're like, what's happening just in the last 3 days? If that happened 10 years ago, it would have been, all of our brains would have been behind on a wall. We were like, this is not even possible. But the things that seem impossible are happening every day now. This is like, time is quickening as fast. Everything is so fast. And so I do think that because of that, it's crucial that we figure out how we respond, that stopping gap moment, create that space to stop. Because we're so connected to the world. Exactly. It's one of our amazing partners and alliances with Choose Love. I love Scarlett, but her and I talk about this all the time. We're all like, it's that gap, it's that moment, it's the space when you can actually stop yourself for a moment and feel and do whatever it takes to get you back to a place where you can respond. Get your nervous system, just get yourself back. Get grounded, go hug a tree. I mean, that's like, it's actually true though. I mean, it's like, go get some negative ions, right? Like, go hug a tree, go, take your shoes off and sit in the grass for a minute, something, if you can't get yourself grounded. But it is so important now to do that. So that you can actually feel yourself again. And then, like I said, here's the next step. But
someone told me at this Ego Condor conference this week, they're like, you have a minimum of 7 guides, and your first guide is who? And I was like, I don't know. My higher self, source? No, your breath. And I was like, oh.
That's actually really good.
That way you know you're out of regulation or in regulation.
Exactly.
That's how you get back on. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We have the tools, we just don't use them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Mariko, thank you so much for coming to the studio today.
It's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks again.
Keeps me in my joy state. Why not?
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Holomovement Purpose Lab.
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like to get to know some of the most important thought leaders in the consciousness movement, I invite you to join us for the Holomovement Wave in Portugal, May 29th through June 2nd. There is going to be incredible luminaries there, such as Lynn Twist, Lynn McTaggart, Samuel J., Shamini Jane, Samantha Sweetwater. These are scientists, musicians, and leading thought leaders in the consciousness movement. And this is your chance to fly into Lisbon, head over to the Cascais beaches, and really spend time to get to know, to plan, and cohere with some of the most important leaders on the planet as we head into this new age. It is our goal to give you the courage to begin to identify your passion and live your purpose for the sake of yourself and for the sake of us all. Over the course of this multi-year collaboration and research project, we have identified patterns and a 7-stage process that many people go through on their way to living their purpose. If you'd like to browse our archive or figure out what stage you're in, head over to holomovement.net/purpose. If you would like to browse our living library of resources, or if you found your purpose and want to contribute what worked for you, head over to lightnet.org/purpose. And as Mark Twain used to say, the most important day of your life is the day you're born and the day you figure out why. You're not alone. We will look forward to helping you on this incredible journey. This has been a collaboration between Holomovement, LightNet, and incredible people like yourself. Special thanks to Good of the Whole. We'll see you next time.